Do you guys hear that?
Is that boss music?
Go naked and just go with the sword, and that's it.
What do I do with all this?
It says it in the title.
I'm a slut for roguelites.
Well, hello, and welcome back to the Unearthing Games Podcast. I'm your lead excavator, Nick, and today I'm joined by Erica.
Hi.
And Jacob.
Hi, everybody.
The prodigal podcaster returns. Man, we've
going?
missed you, man. How you doing?
It's good. It's good.
Nice.
Semester's finally over, so I have quasi free time until the summer semester starts. So,
Quasi free time. Yeah, I was gonna ask
Quasi-free
you. I was gonna ask you what all you're doing. Like, are you getting a summer job and all that? You can work at like a drive-in or something. You know?
No, I have a job.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
What's
that's a job.
what's like a token summer job? You know,
Go work at the
his
water
was
park.
water park. Yeah.
he could be
No.
he could pull like a Archie Andrews and go get a job like breaking rocks for his construction friend. I don't know.
Oh, so fun. But no, I have my job that I had during the semester. I just get to work more hours now.
That's always fun because more
Which
hours
is good.
means more
Money.
money.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But
What else? So so that's a little bit about what's going on for you. What have you been up to, man? It's been like a month, 2 months since he was on the podcast.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I think
what have you been up to, dude? What have you been playing?
I dropped. Just for some backstory, I dropped because I had to go through finals.
Yeah.
Right.
Never a fun
Grad
time.
school.
Yeah.
Grad school finals were fun. But yeah, what have I been playing? I went through a big Stellaris kick lately.
I think I saw you playing that earlier today, right? Or was that yesterday?
It must have been a couple days ago because I've been playing because the Stellaris kick happened, and then the No Man's Sky kick happened.
See, you and me need to tag up. Like, I feel like every other week I'm reading an article about a new No Man's Sky update, and I want to get back into it, especially now that they've supposedly made it like easier to do multiplayer. Supposedly, from the articles I've read, I haven't actually booted it up, so I don't know this for a fact. I was like,
really
man,
know
I want to
either.
go back to exploring the galaxy, but I want a buddy, you know?
There you go.
I know I could
Do
go
it.
like tame an alien dog or something, but like that's not the same.
Yeah.
You can. It's it's great. I have an alien dog.
You have an
Do it.
alien dog.
Does it
It's
die?
wonderful.
Well, everything dies.
Like, can it die?
Oh,
Like, if
well-
you jump off a cliff, like, will it die?
Probably.
I don't-
Like, you have a little jetpack, but will
If
it
you
die?
shoot it with a flamethrower, will it die?
I don't know. Do you want me to go run some tests?
No,
No.
no. I'm just asking if your dog's
No.
been attacked.
Like, I wouldn't want to
I
get
think-
connected to something and then it
Also,
just dies.
I think you can train them.
So never have a pet?
to
Is
be-
that what you're saying?
No.
I think you can train them to be like combat animals, but I don't think you can actually like lose them.
Okay.
Like you can
So it's
train them
more,
to gather resources.
More like the
and
dog
stuff.
from Fallout 4, where he just goes down for a minute, and then you stab him with a stem, and he gets up, and he's like, "Let's go,
Yeah.
Master, I'm ready."
Yeah, sure.
You know. That.
But
So-
there's that, and they also added expeditions, which is like their seasons, you know.
Okay.
But they're just timed events
Oh,
that
okay.
it's kind of odd. You have to start a whole new save file to
Oh.
participate in the current expedition.
So each season you have to start a new save file?
Yes,
That's
but
weird.
well, but if I haven't tested it properly because this is only the second expedition and I didn't play in the first one
Yeah.
really.
So maybe you
But-
just need a new save file to be in the new stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, you need it. Well, but okay, so they're timed, right?
Well, no, I get that. Like, I guess what I'm worried about, what I think Erica was getting at, was that if I have to start a new save file every season, I don't know if I want to go back. That's because like
Well,
the whole
no.
thing is like I get so invested in my save files in
Well,
No
no.
Man's
So
Sky.
the thing is that this doesn't. You start like a separate save file from like your regular playthrough or something. It's a specific game mode now.
Oh,
called
okay.
Expeditions.
So you
And
don't have
it's-
to do it every season, like every month or 2 months.
It's just you
or
have an
whatever.
expeditions mode file.
Yeah,
Okay.
that you will usually delete because that season is over and you'll start a new one.
Okay.
I tried it. When the first expedition ended, I went back to that file to see like what happens if you go back to your file when the expedition is over, because it'll specifically say, hey, this is from a previous expedition. So I went in, I started playing, and then it hits you with a message saying, hey, this is an old expedition. We're going to change this save file into a regular playthrough. So like you can still play in the expedition file.
Okay, so I think I just need to go and mess around with it to fully understand what's going on.
But it's Expedition. I feel like Expeditions is nice because it gives you a whole bunch of new things to go do. Because the one that's right now is an expedition in 5 phases. And each phase of the expedition has 6 to 8 things to do.
Okay.
In them. So like the first one is obviously, the first phase of the expedition is find your ship. Fix your ship. I think one for this one was build one of the exocrafts.
Mm-hmm.
And then get off the planet. And then warp away.
Okay.
And go to the first rendezvous point.
Okay.
And then after that, the missions change after that. Like there was one where it was go to a whole bunch of different planets, scan some stuff on specific planets.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I kind of had the most trouble with was discover star systems.
Okay, yeah, that could be a lot.
Which you wouldn't think would be difficult, except in a thing about Expeditions is that every single player playing Expeditions starts in the same place.
Ooh, so if you're not the first out the gate...
If you are not the first one playing, you will have to find a black hole and warp away to have any chance of being the first to discover anything.
A system. That's rough.
It was rough. I got lucky. I found a random event that took me away. But but no, I feel like it breaks up that whole deal of, well, what do I do today? Because I'm doing the same thing over and over again.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean...
And also you get rewards. You get rewards that you can transfer to your other saves.
Okay, as long as you can nerf it over to other people.
I think you... Okay, I don't want to, state that for a fact, because I actually haven't gone to my regular save to actually claim things.
I get you. I was just... Because I was thinking about that, where it's like, if you're doing all these, seasonal expeditions to unlock, let's say, cosmetics and stuff...
You should be able to transfer
on a save file. You're just gonna delete and start again.
Yeah, because
what's the point? Like if I unlock the unicorn backpack for this season, and then I have to delete that save and start again without my unicorn backpack, why did I even do it?
Well, so when you finish a phase, you get a big reward. One of the rewards I got was a whole ship. They're like, hey, here's a ship for finishing one of the phases. Have fun. The other one, but then I've gotten a whole bunch of customizable, some armor pieces and things to make your guy look different.
Yeah.
I've had a whole bunch of those, which, like I said, I need to go to my regular save, the one that I have.
To see if those actually carried over into your regular...
Yeah, well, to see if I can redeem them there.
Okay. Well,
I need to go check. Because if that's the case, then this is, Expeditions is really neat. Because you can go run the expedition and then get stuff and carry it to your new... Anyway, that's what I've been doing.
So this all falls under the umbrella of, man, they made No Man's Sky good.
Yeah, I know, right? It's wonderful.
So Stellaris, No Man's Sky, anything else been going on your end of the woods?
Work, mostly.
Okay.
Just, since it's the summer now, I get to work longer hours.
Yeah.
So what have y'all been up to?
What about you, Erica? What have you been up to since the last time we talked?
Not much. I finished that shirt that I had always wanted to make.
Yeah.
Nice.
You seemed almost disappointed by it, and
I was a bit disappointed.
that hurt me, Right. So I can't even imagine how much it hurt you.
Disappointed in how it turned out?
Yeah, I felt like one sleeve was a bit bigger, and I was just like, I mean, it still looks good, and it's not noticeable, but for me, that made it. I know that one sleeve is bigger.
She has that problem where if she knows there's a problem...
Has a mistake over here in the back.
One little tiny mistake that's on some random little stitch that you have to know it's there to go and find it. But she knows about it. Yeah. Therefore, it will forever
It haunts me.
be like a huge red stain on this white shirt. You know, it's what it will be.
Right. Oh well.
So
I mean,
she did
But
that.
it came out well. I'm still gonna take it like on our vacation.
Well, yeah,
trip
it
and
looks
stuff.
really good on you,
Yeah.
and it's a good color. It's soft yarn.
Yes.
Really soft yarn. So,
Nice.
like, I
That's
was
always
like,
a bonus.
hey, maybe you could knit me a shirt. And it turns out
There's
they
no-
don't make men's knitted shirt patterns. They just don't. It's like if you're gonna knit something for your man, you knit him a sweater
or sweater vest
or a sweater vest, and
Or
those are the
scarf.
only things that women in the knitting community have made for a guy. Are sweaters and sweater vests, and probably an occasional mitten.
Yeah.
What did I think Zoe gave me a beanie, a hat?
Yeah.
Hats. There you go. Hats.
Yeah. Hats,
Accessories.
scarves,
Accessories. But if it's an actual piece of apparel, it's gonna be a sweater.
yeah. It's actually hard to find like patterns for men, which I find surprising. Like there's men that knit. Like I'm sure they would want to make stuff for themselves.
like, is it like some sort of macho thing? Like men don't wear knitted clothes.
I have no idea. Like I don't know what it is,
Who
but
knows?
like I found patterns for pants and shirts and sweaters,
Oh yeah,
like
wait,
everything
Wait,
for.
didn't you one time you found a pattern like you could have made me like knitted shorts? Wasn't that a thing for a while?
There was a picture floating around of like a guy in crochet shorts that everyone was
That's
like,
amazing.
that's weird. But yeah, I've seen
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I would want you to do that to me.
it.
To me, that seems a little odd. It'd be warm. It'd just be very warm. You know, like it's not cold enough here for me to need that.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, so that's what y'all have been up to? Just
Yeah.
knitting and
yeah,
video
knitting.
games?
I mean, playing games. The game we're gonna talk about. I think I'm gonna talk about today. The game she's gonna talk about today.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still working on the games I've been working on. Haven't really had a chance to talk to you about it, and
Yeah.
I think it's not on the podcast episode that's come out yet for you to hear. But working on designing our own game, so that's fun, right?
Nice.
We got to the point where we have like
A
the most
mock-up.
watered down
Yeah.
version of it you could do. So we have like a base
This is-
game that works, like the mechanics work.
Mm-hmm.
You
This
know,
is an alpha.
yeah, it's like Uber Alpha basically. Like
Yeah.
our components are like little dice, so that we have little pieces that can be on the board. You know,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
I printed out a bunch of things on cardstock and cut them up into little cards. So we have 2 decks of little cardstock 1x2
Cards. Yeah.
cards. So
Hey,
yeah,
They
but
all
we
started
did a
they all started
playtest, and
somewhere.
the first playtest I think was a great success.
Yeah.
Like it was a playable game. I enjoyed it. Like yeah, there's things that need to be worked on,
Mhm.
obviously.
I
But I
do
think-
love playable games.
I know, right? But like I was really worried that like I thought like, oh, this is a cool idea, but we're gonna sit and play it. It's gonna be like,
Yeah.
Good in theory, bad in practice.
yeah. But
Yeah, I think it works.
Okay. Well, that's good. As long
Like
as
I don't
Erica
think it's a bad
agrees.
game. Like it needs polishing.
Well, yeah.
That's the thing. But I think it works as a game.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is good when you're trying to make a game. You know?
yeah, you know,
Wonderful.
gonna be lots of play testing, many iterations. We will probably adjust the numbers and change the balancing.
Yeah.
Probably 100 times, you know. But
Well, I look forward to playtesting. It's gonna be fun.
yes, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's all that we've all been up to. So
Mhm.
why don't we jump right into the stuff? And I guess Jacob, why don't you start us off? What game did you play this week? What have you been up? What have you
What
been up
did
to?
I
You want to talk
play?
about for the podcast?
Sweet. So I played a game, and it's a great game, called Insurmountable. Insurmountable is a game by Bite Rockers Games.
Okay.
So it's Bite like yours with Shank Bites for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Bite. So Bite Rocker Games is both publisher and developer. Its Steam tags are strategy, roguelike, adventure, indie, survival. And I'm not gonna lie, I immediately bought it because I saw roguelike.
I was gonna say
Well,
I
that
don't
is
see
the
how this
only
would be
reason.
a roguelike.
Well, my question
So-
is: it roguelike or light? Does each playthrough impact the next playthrough, or is everyone standalone basically?
It depends. They're basically standalones. I'll get into it. But so
Okay.
the premise is you are a mountaineer that has arrived on this. It's described as a strange, like, mystical island that just kind of appeared out of nowhere.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And and you're a mountaineer, and by golly, you're gonna climb that mountain.
Okay.
And so it's put out, like, the mountain is made of a hex grid. If you're looking at the Steam page,
Yeah.
you can see it. It's a hex of progressively height increasing different terrains. There's 3 types of terrain. There's rock, snow, and ice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then there's two variations of each. So there's rough rock and smooth rock.
Mm-hmm.
Rough rock or ice or snow will have a possibility of giving you a random detrimental event.
Oh.
Or a possibly detrimental event.
Okay.
And so, and your the object of the game is to get to the top of the mountain. And then back down.
Oh gosh, okay, so you gotta go there and back again.
And the back down part is the one that always kicks me in the ass, because, yeah, getting back down a mountain is
harder.
Pretty rough. Yeah. So,
I'm sure there's like a whole bunch of jokes about, well, isn't walking downhill supposed to be easy, you know? But
well, I mean, there is a quick way down the mountain, but it's never usually the safest way.
that makes sense.
But the whole deal is like, so you could plot a course all the way to the top. You can just go and click on the top and say, hey, take me there. It's not going to end well for you. And your person will run out of every single resource that you have at your disposal.
Mm-hmm.
You have 4 resources. Well, resources. You have energy, you have oxygen, you have body heat, and you have sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, energy is spent by literally walking or climbing anything. So your movement spends energy, and also there are some events. Actually, some events will use up some of your resources. So, like, there are random little discs that are floating around the map that you can go to, and they're random events. Some of them are usually always good.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that's like a shrine that you can go to, and it's an obvious one. If you like hit it enough, you'll start to realize which one's the shrine.
Yeah.
And it's always a good thing. Like, it will always either give you some bonus energy or body heat or oxygen.
Some sort of boon.
Or anything. Yeah. It'll always give you a boon. There are interaction deals where it's like you'll find a person on the mountain.
Okay.
And you can interact with them. They always describe them as the natives.
Okay.
Which,
people that live there?
Yeah, like natives on the mountain. And they're always like weird things.
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean, if it's a magical island with a magical mountain that wasn't here
somehow
before,
appeared.
Right.
you would assume that whoever lives on that island would be
little
magical, you know?
Right. But like they're a grab bag of random things. Like, it could be good, it could be bad. If you don't have the right equipment on you, some options are blocked out. There are caves along the way that you can they offer a safe place to rest without having to use your tent.
Mm-hmm.
Which your tent is a usable item, so it has a limited amount of uses.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find more tents along the way as you go, which is another deal that you can run into, which is equipment along the way.
Yeah.
And those can be they're usually consumables, like food. You'll find canned food, which gives you energy.
Yeah.
You'll find tea, which ups your body heat.
Yeah. Nice.
And you'll usually find oxygen canisters, which give you bonus oxygen.
Yeah, makes sense.
Now there's, as you go higher up the mountain, you will obviously run out of energy somewhere along the way, so you'll have to sleep, which is where your tent comes in, or a cave if there's one along your path that you decide to go down. And I don't know what happens if you sleep without cover.
Mm-hmm. Probably not good for you.
It's probably not good for you. Depending on the weather, because actually weather also plays a factor into this. Yeah. If you sleep on a clear day, you will regain both energy and body heat.
Okay.
If you sleep on cold days, you will only regain energy, and your body heat will continue to go down.
That makes sense. Yeah.
If you sleep on stormy days, your body heat goes down even more.
Again, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they go down, and if any one of your four resources goes down to 0, bad things start to happen.
You don't just immediately die.
So you don't immediately die.
Mm-hmm.
When they get to when those bars get to 0, then they start pulling from your health. Like, events start happening. That's like, the one that always happened to me was I would run out of energy a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would be like, yeah, well, like your person would collapse. Like, it would be like a text deal where like, hey, he's collapsed. You give into your stuff, so you gain energy, but you lose some health.
Yeah.
And it's neat. And as you go, you'll reach a point on the mountain, which they call it the oh my gosh, what do they call it? The death zone, I think is what it is.
Oh, nice.
It's where the oxygen is so thin that's where you start losing your oxygen.
Okay.
And yeah. it's really neat. As you go, as you go and you go through events and things like that, your person will gain experience, which they can use, which unlocks either passive abilities. Like, there's always ones like, hey, increases your total amount of body heat or energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you find like a pair of woolen mittens or something.
Well, that's equipment. Hang on.
Oh,
no, these are like trainings and things.
Okay.
Things like techniques that you've picked up along the way.
Yeah.
That you've learned. And like, the one that I had that I actually liked the most was an active ability that it would negate any treacherous terrain. So like rough rock or snow, like rough snow or anything like that, it would negate it. So you wouldn't have any negative effects from it.
Okay. Yeah.
But it always took you longer to cross that.
It's more like you're being very cautious
Yeah,
about
you're
going
being
through
careful.
the rough terrain. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
more probably like at the expense of more energy used because it takes longer to move.
You negate
no
the
bad
negative
events.
effects. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, they can be active effects like that. There were some that I thought were really kind of useless, but to be honest,
you just gotta think of other strategies, man.
I do. I might have to think of more of different ways to actually run it.
Yeah.
But I think it's really neat. There are currently 3 climbers to play as.
Mm-hmm.
You have the adventurer, the scientist, and the journalist. I have only played as the adventurer and the scientist. And each one of them has their own reasons for going up the mountain.
Yeah.
The adventurer, obviously, they're just here for the thrill.
Yeah.
That's all they want. And so, yeah. It starts out as the easy mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And once you climb the easy mountain, once you get to the top, they notice, hey, there's another mountain in the distance. So then you go down.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, then you go down and you climb the next one. And it's a little harder. And then it's finally the last mountain, which is the hardest mountain.
Yeah.
Now the cool thing about this is that once you've conquered one mountain, you're done with it. You don't actually have to play the easy mountain again, even if you die.
Okay.
So then it's a checkpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So then once you start another playthrough, you can start on the medium mountain and try to conquer it.
Okay.
And each one of them is great. I think the scientist was my favorite. They had a bunch of interesting abilities. Like one that you would waste some time, but you would gain experience so that you could level up and get more abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the scientist was really useful. But their whole deal is they're looking for data on a seemingly limitless source of energy.
Okay.
And the whole deal is they're packing instruments up to the top of this mountain. to take measurements.
Yeah.
For like their Nobel Prize. This is they always talk about how, oh man, this is Nobel Prize worthy stuff right here.
Yeah.
We're gonna solve the world's energy problem.
I mean, that's gotta be like what every scientist wants to, like, you know, they want to win a Nobel Prize
like
some
the
way.
goal. Yeah.
It's Well, then his the scientist's whole deal is, oh well, the readings are kind of weird at this mountain.
Maybe
let's go try that. Let's go try the next one, and then it just moves you into the next mountains.
Yeah, always a bigger mountain. There's
always a bigger mountain, and I haven't played as the journalist yet, so I don't know what their deal is.
Okay, it sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It is really neat. I started to learn that don't necessarily because you can, if you can see a hex on the map, you can click it and it'll plot a path to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually plotting the fastest path, which is not necessarily the most energy efficient.
Okay.
Or it's not necessarily the most energy efficient. And if you're trying to deal with energy like rationing, like if you're always like running kind of low on energy, you might want to tweak your path a little bit to make it more energy efficient.
Right.
And you can do that. You can, back out of that path, make a new one, and like do some junctures or points or stuff to...
Yeah.
Or if you want to hit, one of the events.
You can go out your way.
How about I just plot a point this way and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
It's not so much of it's not a roguelike like we would think of one, because we always think of one as a live, play, die, repeat, which it is still kind of like that, but it's not nearly as confrontational as other roguelikes. It's not Enter the Gungeon where you're running through room after room, gunning down.
I think that's a more refreshing twist on the roguelike like genre, because most of the time you're right, they are usually very combat oriented.
They're combat oriented.
Yeah.
I think that's when I saw this one, I was like, that's different.
Yeah.
That seems really neat.
I will say, just from the Steam snapshots, it looks like a very pretty game.
Mm-hmm.
It is really pretty. I will say the hex grid is very satisfying to look at, because it builds a mountain really well, and it's a procedural mountain every time, so it's never going to be the same mountain, which is weird.
Magic.
Yeah, because it's a magical mountain.
And like the whole like hex rock thing, that's a thing, right? With like, didn't you say like basalt pillars or whatever? Yeah, basalts will fracture into hexes. Yeah.
So there you go.
That's what it looks like to me.
Given the proper circumstances.
Yeah.
Like Devil's Tower in Utah or Nevada, one of those.
I don't know.
Your guess is as good as mine.
And the Giants Causeway in Scotland.
Yes.
Is also
that's what this reminds me of.
It's also hexagonal basalts. They have a name, and I'm spacing on the name right now.
It happens to the best of us, man, even the most avid professionals.
Yes, but they're very obvious characteristics. But
yeah, I'm sure the guys who made this game probably it's not a coincidence that the rocks are all hexes, It's
also like hex grids are easy to make as far as like traversing areas. Like you have more than one option to go to.
Yeah, as far as directions.
Yeah, so I think the hex makes sense. It just reminded me of those.
I'm sure that like the similarity is not lost on them. As I'm saying,
right. But no, it is really satisfying to play. It's satisfying to watch the animations of the person.
Yeah.
Even as they're just walking, it has really nice sound design to it.
Okay.
Because like suddenly, like you're playing, the music is a bit overpowering. I had to go in. Oh, actually, no. If I remember correctly, I first booted this game up, and I was like, "Is there audio to this game?"
Yeah.
I went to my settings. The audios were all the way down, and I was like, "Who sets their game like to have a default like no sound?" So I turned.
That sounds like a bug to me.
It did. I don't know, but I fixed it. It's not like a big deal, but
like, oh no, the speaker wasn't plugged in. Fixed.
The music is pretty good. The sound I think is really good, because like you'll be going, and then you'll hear like random rock falls, or
that's cool.
Like
when they walk across like a snowy hex, can you hear like the whole like
the crunch,
like of them crunching in the snow?
I think sound is different. I would have to go back and look. Okay. I didn't pay that much attention to to the differences in terrain. All I know is that footsteps sound decent.
I don't know. I've just always liked that.
Sounds good.
That crunchy...
The snow crunch.
The snow crunch sound.
Yeah.
Like whatever they do in movies and all that, you know, I've always thought that was such a fun sound.
Just because we're not used to it. We don't
get like in Texas, we're like, that's a myth. They made up that noise.
Ice doesn't fall from the sky.
Well, there was just a lot of it. I took my dogs out in it, and they were both like, eh. So I was like, y'all girls are right. Let's go back in.
Well, then you walked across the street, too, to Phil's house.
Oh, yeah. Why did I even do that?
And you fell on the way.
Why did I go over there?
I don't remember why you went over there.
Mistakes were made.
But you did.
Yeah, I remember, and I slipped.
Yeah.
Because they had ice on their driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
That was not a fun walk.
See, this is why Texans don't deal with ice.
Exactly.
Because we ain't good.
It's never cold enough here for things to freeze. We don't know what to do. But okay.
Yeah, I think it's really neat. It's definitely, like you said, a refreshing take on roguelike.
Yeah.
Where the only difference there is in playthroughs is really if you've beaten the previous mountain, then you get to try a harder mountain from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
But like usually your people have set starting equipment and skills. Like, and they always will. Every playthrough.
Yeah.
So there's none of this fail forward.
Okay.
Unless you take your personal experience as a fail forward.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. That makes it roguelike instead of roguelite.
Right.
So
except for like the fact that you can skip the first level. That's the only thing that would be more light about it. But it seems more light.
Because light games tend to have shortcuts and stuff.
Yeah.
So okay.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah. It looks really great. It sounds really cool. Definitely one that I'll have to check out at one point, because like I said, it's definitely a pretty game, and it's definitely not our normal cup of tea.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as Steam games go, it's pretty relatively priced. It's about $20 on Steam.
This is mouse and keyboard? I assume?
Yes. Yeah. I do believe. I don't think it has controller support. It does not.
That's a big dinger for me, man. I love controller support.
Well, I was going to say, like, this is one that you could play on the Steam Link, and I could just sit there and watch.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if it's mouse and keyboard...
I could plug in. I have a wireless mouse and keyboard.
Yeah,
we can make this happen.
It is mouse and keyboard.
Worry not. This can happen. All right. So
and hey, there's a leaderboards, so you can play against your friends.
That makes me just.
Oh yeah.
There's always someone better at games than me.
It's really good. It really looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of unique things that could happen, like random events.
Yeah.
All that fun stuff. I thought it was really cool. It looks really good. I think Bite Rockers Games did a really good job on this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it looks really cool. So Insurmountable
by Bite Rockers Games.
Cool. So Erica, what did you play this week?
So this week I played a game called Polybridge. This is by Dry Cactus, developed and published. And this is tagged as a building, simulation, physics, puzzle, and sandbox game.
We're staying true to the past couple episodes we've played.
The simulations.
I was going to say several-year-old games.
Oh, yeah, this is from 2016.
2016. So
we keep just going for the old.
Well, I mean, we're at this point, we're like, it's like you reach in the bag of games, you know, and like, at some point, they're not going to be new stuff anymore. Yeah. You know, you can't always play the new stuff.
Yeah, well, so Polybridge, the whole purpose of this is... Well, you said it reminds you of, like, a program you guys used to use in high school.
Yeah.
For, like, your...
It was a game we did class. In, like, I think it was, like, in Algebra 2 or something, when we were doing all, like, the right angles. And like, we were studying, like, angles. Well, maybe it was geometry.
Geometry, probably.
I don't remember. One of my math classes, but there was a program like this that some engineering firm had released online back when the internet was still... fresh and people weren't sure what the heck to do with it.
Yeah.
And basically it was a program where you're supposed to design a bridge that can support a truck.
Yeah.
And like it gave you like a whole thing where like, you know, it would tell you what your budget was based on what you built, and you picked different types of beams and column supports, and you could do cable bridges and stuff like that. It didn't have all of the bells and whistles that this one does as far as like hydraulics and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But looking at this, like the side view when you're designing the bridge itself,
yeah, it reminds you of that.
It's that program.
Yeah,
like I said, these people saw that program when they were younger, and were like,
"That was fun."
Like, what if we made puzzles out of this?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, so the whole point is it's a whole bunch of different little scenarios, and you're building bridges across a river or a chasm or whatever it is, and you're trying to get cars from one side to the other, or buses or motorcycles. It's always different.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like Nick said, you have to use hydraulics because you need to make a drawbridge so that boats can go underneath and then cars can go across it. And so it has like an order of operations, like this car will go first and then the boat's gonna pass and then it'll close again and this other car is gonna have to go through. So you have to like set it up as far as how that goes. But it's all about building bridges that can sustain
weight at different intervals, and it like the physics engine for it is pretty nuts.
Yeah, and it has a cool little view where you can see the points on your bridge that are under the most stress.
Yeah.
So you can see like, oh, well, this triangle is being stressed the most because the shape next to it isn't a triangle, and so all the pressure is going on this triangle. And so it kind of helps you in like building it. But yeah, it's just crazy how many ways there is to solve these puzzles.
Yeah. And
like you can see that with people that play this game on YouTube. Like you can look at, solution for bridge 1 and there's like 50 different ways to do it.
Like what I love is like watching the people that are off the wall where they're like, well, my budget is X amount, so I could make an actual bridge, or, and hear me out here, let's make a ramp and have them jump.
Yeah, they're gonna jump across.
They're gonna jump across the river, like, Evel Knievel style.
Yeah,
and we save a couple $1,000s.
Exactly.
Well, because you get graded on like, I think every map gives you like a budget on like, it's like how much under budget were you?
Yeah,
and how was your stress? I think like how little stress did you have? Because you want to have as little stress as possible.
Right.
So you get graded on both of those, and I think there's a leaderboard.
Oh, yeah,
for every puzzle. So like you do it, you're like, oh wow, I did so great, and then it's like so and so over in Poland actually did this for $1, and you're like, what? How did he do that? Mm-hmm. And so it kind of rubs it in your face a little bit, but
yeah, it says it has 100+ campaign levels, and I have not gone through nearly that many.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it gets ridiculous because even at the beginning, it was like, okay, now. It's like a double-decker bridge on one side, and car A is on top, and at the end it has to be on the bottom, and car B is on the bottom, and at the end it has to be on top. Yeah. So it's like, how do you switch it so that they can cross
weird hydraulics.
Yeah.
Or like it would do the weird stuff where like I think like car A would have to go across, but then come back and be up on the top on the second level.
Yes.
It would do crazy stuff, and there is a whole section of it that's about jumps, and that's the motorcycle guys. All of theirs was like super low budget, have to cross the canyon.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, we're making ramps.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say the car has to land on its tires on the other side. It just has to get to the other side.
There. Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy. I always love watching like I'm sure there are on YouTube, but like all the bloopers.
Yeah.
Everything that goes wrong. Because like a lot of times the things that break your bridge, like from what I've watched, it's not even the cars.
No.
It'll be like the hydraulic guy, he picks up the bridge, it's like, yeah, this is working.
And then he goes too far.
Yeah, and he either goes too far and breaks himself, or he puts himself back down too hard and breaks the other side of the hydraulic bridge. Yeah. And I was like, your hydraulics are against you. Like, they are not your friend.
Yeah.
Like,
the hydraulics are hard.
So, it's pretty cool, though. It's a really neat game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is another one that I think you and I have talked about stuff like this before. Like, I don't think I would play this by myself.
Yeah.
But sitting with you, talking it through, being like, well, have you tried this? Because like we've learned that like if I sit and watch you play a game, you're like I call out when I'm like, why are you doing it that way? Like,
yes,
what are you doing? Like why do it like that? Why triangles, Erica? Why triangles?
Triangles are the strongest shape.
Actually, hexagons are the strongest shape. Anyway.
What?
I don't know anything. Y'all are the smart people in this group.
I thought triangles were the strongest shape.
I just like board
games.
That's
what geometry taught me.
I don't know anything. I didn't like my geometry teacher. She wasn't very nice. But
sure she was.
Sure she was.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So what's the craziest thing you've built in this, Erica?
Oh god, probably a ramp. Like just the ramps I feel like are the craziest ones. Like where it's not even just a ramp. It's like this car has to jump off a ramp and then land on a bit of bridge and then drive off the map. And so, like, being able to support that little bit of bridge to take that impact from the car falling.
And you watch it get all red, because, like, when the motorcycle hits it, it turns, like, red, like it's about to break, because all the stress on that one poor little platform.
Yeah, it's like, bridges aren't meant to do this kind of thing.
No, bridges aren't meant to be jumped on, guys.
Yeah. No, they are not. That is not meant to be their thing. But it's really cool. It's a neat thing. Because, I think you've only gotten through, like, maybe 2 of the biomes. I know there's a bunch of different areas. Like, there's, like, the green, grassy area it starts in.
Yeah.
And then you've been in, like, the desert area.
Yes.
But I don't remember you finishing the desert area.
This is one, too, where I want to go back and play it, but it's also, like, if I go back now, am I going to remember how it works?
So you'd have to, like, start over. Right. It's kind of like me and, like, how I've started Celeste over, like, 3 times now. Because it's the kind of game that you're supposed to learn as you go, and your skills snowball.
Yeah.
So it expects you to have mastered the things it taught you in level 1 by the time you get to level 3. And it's like, if I pick it back up after months and I'm at level 3, I'm like, is this the jump button? This is the jump button. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, why don't you remember?
It's been 7 years.
Yeah. But yeah, so I definitely need to go back to this one and play it. It's a lot of fun. I feel like I also was burnt out because I was watching people play it on YouTube all the time. And so it was like, oh yeah, well they solved it this way. Let me just do it the same way instead of trying to figure out my own ways to do it. So that's why I stopped.
Yeah, because this one has been in your catalog for a while.
Yeah.
So I could see that. It's definitely.
But yeah, it's something I need to go back to.
Overexposure.
Yeah.
Well, you know how it is when like there's a new hot game and like every YouTuber is playing it.
Yeah, well, you got to stay relevant somehow.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like that. I feel like that happens to us a lot when like a new hot game comes out, and it'll be like every single member of the Yogs cast is playing it.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, now I don't want to play it because I've watched all of them play it.
Yeah,
so I've seen the entire story forwards and backwards, and I've seen every possible way of doing it because every Yogs thinks about things differently and handles stuff differently. So. I mean, if you're not dad screaming at it like Sips, are you really enjoying a game? I mean,
Sips is just
I love Sips.
He's great. Well, but like, I feel like that's the thing. That's the kind of thing. It's like you can take other people's ideas, like kind of over-examine it, and be like, well, there's an easier way to do this.
Yeah.
See, and I think that's always been a problem for me watching the Yogs people play. Is like if I ever pick up a game that I've watched them play a bunch, I think I get bogged down in thinking about the ways they did it.
Yeah.
And is that the best way? Can I do it better? And then like I spend so much time like messing around with it, I don't ever actually play.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say maybe it's something that you need to forget what they did.
Yeah.
And just fail.
Well, and that's why like I think like the way she's talking about it, like how she picked it up years ago and watched them all play it, and you come back years later and it's like maybe you remember what they did, maybe you don't.
Yeah, probably not.
Meh. Doesn't really matter. Get through
so,
it.
Polybridge by Dry Cactus.
Yeah.
Pretty cool game. Cute art style.
Mm-hmm.
Very cute art style. It
Again,
had nice
it's a
sound.
Low poly art style.
I really like low poly stuff. Low poly and pixel art. It's just nice. And it had good sound engineering.
Yeah.
The sound of little cars going like as they're like driving across the bridge, and like every time you hear like the wood buckle, it sounded
cracking.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
And it just snaps.
So speaking of the Yogs and all that, the game that I played this week, I actually first saw Sips play it a long time ago when it was on early access, and I picked it up back then too. This is from. It says it was released in 2018.
Yes.
I think that's when its full release was.
Probably. Yeah.
This game was on early access for quite a while before that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that's when I picked it up, when the game wasn't done yet. The game I played, I haven't even said the name yet, is Subnautica. This game is by Unknown Worlds Entertainment. It's a pretty cool game. Its tags on Steam are open world survival craft, because that's absolutely a genre, survival, and open world. So the second two tags, like, they borrowed the homework from the first tag.
Yeah, I was going to say those are...
They're like, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just make it look different. So they just dropped the word craft, and they are fine.
Yeah.
So the premise of this game is that you are somebody who works on a spaceship for like this intergalactic corporation that like runs everything. And your spaceship gets shot down over this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Or your ship crashes onto this ocean world. Because like in the beginning you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
The opening thing is just like your guy like running into an escape pod, and he just shoots himself out of the escape pod. Forget anybody else on the ship. I'm not worried about all of them. Just eject.
I didn't think about
I'm trying to get out of here.
Yeah, so he left people to die, probably.
That's fine.
And you crash on this planet, and the entire planet is ocean. And I don't know what the whole, like, phobia of being underwater thing is, but, like...
Thalassophobia.
Thalassophobia, is that what it is? I totally have that in video games. Maybe that means I have it in real life, because I've never really been, like, a place that I could be underwater with things that are alive.
Like, you've never been scuba diving or anything like that.
So maybe I have thalassophobia, because whenever I play video games that have, like, hardcore water levels, where, like, you have to go swimming for, like, most of the level, and there are things trying to eat you, I freak out. So this was a horror game for me. So I'm going to add that tag to it later on when we're done with this podcast. It was horrifying. But
right.
So basically, you land in your drop pod, your escape pod. It's got cute little floaties. Mm-hmm. So it's like in like the center of this huge open world sandbox map, but everything's underwater. There's like 2 little pips of land on the entire thing.
Yeah.
And they're like baby pieces of land. You can't even really do anything there. The game doesn't expect you to hang out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, the engine is not meant for you to be on land.
No, yeah, you're not meant to be on land. Even, like, there's, like, nothing there. There's nothing for you. You get, like, some fruit, so you can... So, it's an open-world survival craft game. So think Minecraft. You know, you have this huge environment. You wander around. Basically, everything can be messed with to get, like, crafting resources.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's futuristic. So, like, you've got, like, a little scanner gun. It's like, you scan everything, and that's like, congratulations, you scanned it. Now you have a blueprint.
You know how to make
now you can make a submarine and all that. And so, like, you start off by, like, making, like, a little, it calls it a sea glide, and it's, like, a little propeller that you hold onto, and it pulls you through the water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you start off with nothing. Like, you're just a guy swimming in your spacesuit.
Yeah, and then you get flippers.
And you get flippers, so you go faster. Then you get an O2 tank, so you don't drown. Then you get the sea glide, where you go a little bit faster. And, like, you go up this, like, this stair-step trees before you know it, you've made, like, a nuclear submarine to go under, to go underground or to go underwater, and it's crazy. It is a lot more fun. Like, in hindsight, it's a lot more fun than I was having at the time. Because, like I said, all the time, you know, something's going on. Like, I'm driving my big submarine through the ocean, and I'm like, yeah, look at me, man, I'm cool. All of a sudden, it's like on the radar, you see like this red pip show up, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And all of a sudden, I could see it in the front window, and it's this Leviathan-class creature, and he freaking hits my submarine, and, like, all of a sudden, we're taking on water, things are on fire, I'm running around, and I'm like, I've got a little fire extinguisher, and I'm like, it's like having a bucket, and, like, the boat's we're already completely underwater, so I'm just, like, bucketing it out, you know, I'm like, let's go. A lot of that, where you're just minding your own business, and something tries to eat you.
Right. Yeah.
You do have, like, a funny PDA that, like, every time you build something, it talks about the thing you made.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it has really funny comments and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like, the first thing I could think of is, like, when you make the survival knife. Mm-hmm. That's one of the first, like, it's, like, well, like, one of the only weapons in the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it makes a joke about that. It talks about how all of the fabrication benches used to have blueprints for weapons, but since the massacre of whatever 4, weapons are the only weapon now left in fabrication benches is the survival knife.
It's the knife. Yeah.
It's like, because people used it for bad.
Yeah.
And then, like, at one point you make, like, an underwater, like a mech suit.
Yeah.
It's called the Prawn.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like a mining drill and like a grappling hook arm and all that. And when you first make it, it talks about how prawn suit operators go through years of psychological training to prepare themselves for the feeling of unlimited power that comes with running the prawn suit. You will have to make do with self-control. It's like, oh, thanks PDA. You're so nice to me.
Well, if I remember right, there was one where it was it explains to you how everything you make is property of the whatever corporation you work for.
Yes, it's when you find your first. Like, a lot of the game progresses where, like, the harder to get crafting resources are obviously in deeper areas in the ocean. You have to go down into, like, deep trenches and things.
Mm-hmm.
And you find diamonds, like, at some of, like, the really deep places.
Mm-hmm.
And when you find the diamond, that's when it's like, everything that you've picked up and used is property of Altera Corporation. you currently owe Altera like 5 million credits, and it's like, well, ain't that great? And it's like, I'll just stay here and die, thanks, rather than be an indentured servant for Altera for the rest of my life.
I don't want to get off this planet now. I will stay here.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy. It has a cool storyline. Like really early on, you find out that like you're infected with some sort of like alien bacteria, and you basically like have to find a cure. So you're trying to like figure out how to cure your alien bacteria, but also trying to figure out how to get off the planet. You know,
right?
And it's it's just a crazy thing. Like I think like the thing I enjoyed the most was base building, which the game even comes with a crafting mode where it's literally just. There's no hostile creatures. You have unlimited resources. Build what you want.
Yeah.
Because
the base building was really satisfying.
The base building was great, and like I really liked that, where like you make different stuff and like exploring the areas. I always got so excited when you would find like pieces of wreckage because it always meant there were new blueprints to get, you know. And you would scan the blueprints. It's like, oh, congratulations, you can now make the bioreactor where I could like feed seaweed into it. And it would power my base. Yeah. You know, it was really cool. And it had a lot of great stuff. The story is really awesome about how it kind of grows on itself, and it keeps kind of, like I said, everything stair steps into it. In the very beginning, you kind of feel lost. Yes. Which I think makes sense though, because like you're probably some like space janitor, and you didn't know how to do anything, and like you crash land on this planet, and your PDA's like, "We're gonna help you survive. Let's go," you know. So, because you have no idea what your character's name is, what their job was, like
you are the character.
So I would have been a space janitor. I'd be the guy that I'm just mopping up the mess hall, you know, while all the space engineers and stuff are doing real stuff. I'm like, I'll clean it up, Steve. Don't worry about it. You know, go on, go and cure space cancer and stuff. Whatever it is, space scientists do. Yeah. But yeah, really beautifully done game. It has come a long way. Like, I remember back when it was on early access, like, it had a lot of just empty biomes. Like, nothing was all, like, there was, like, it'd be, like, you have, like, here's the area that's done, and you can, like, sail your submarine out past it, but there's nothing there. Yeah. And so, like, you'd be in, like, one of the biomes I can think of is, it's, like, the red kelp biome or something like that, where, like, all the seagrass, or whatever you want to call it, is red, suddenly. Yeah. And I remember going there, and there's just nothing there. It's all just empty, and I was like, well, this is ominous, because like for me, I'm just waiting for some giant flipping shark to like come out of nowhere and just eat me.
Yeah. Well, that's your thalassophobia talking.
Because it actually happens at one point. Like there's one Leviathan that in my mind is the scariest mofo in the whole thing, and it's called the Reaper Leviathan, and the thing even looks like a devil. I think when Sips played, he called it like Satan of the Sea. Or something like that, because he hated it. Because not only does this guy come after you, if you're in your little baby sub, I think it's called like the sea moth, right? If you're in your little baby sub, it grabs your baby sub, shakes you out of it, and then runs away with your sub. I'm like, what? It's literally like the bag I just came, took my pants, along with my guns, and left. Money. And left. And I'm like, well, what do I do now? Like, I don't have my car keys, my wallet, my lunch money, nothing. I'm stuck. Yeah. And it's like, oh, he threw it away. He's coming back. He wants some more. And so, there's some spots that are pretty horrifying. Not gonna lie. It does have a lot of reading. Because, like, you can scan everything. All the little fish. The fish were all pretty darn adorable. Like little peepers where it's got like a little big old eyeball on the side. And then there's like bladderfish where it's like, he's just a little water balloon in the water. You know, that's all he is. But you can scan everything, so they have cool little, like, the PDA, like, makes, like speculations and hypotheses about, like, their evolution, like, how these creatures could come to be this way. Yeah. And then it's got little audio, like, you can find audio logs from other people that have crashed on the planet and stuff, like, other survivors who you can't seem to find.
Are no longer survivors.
Yeah, they're no longer survivors. So it's pretty cool. I honestly really like it. I think it just had a sequel drop.
Yes, the Sub-Zero?
Below Zero.
Below Zero, there you go. I think I kept calling it Subnautica Sub-Zero. Yeah. Because I was like, come on, you're missing out on that one. Yeah. Subnautica Sub-Zero. Like, that would have been like... I'm sure even they thought that was too on the nose.
Yeah, Below Zero.
I saw someone playing it online, and I was like, I don't want to watch too much of this. Because I actually want to play this game, and this one seems like it is a lot story heavier. Yeah. Like, there's a lot more dialogue in it. Like, I watched, like, the first 10 minutes of it when with Tom from the Yogscast playing it, and I was like, this looks cool. People are talking. You know, like, there's characters talking to each other in the game. And I was like, so I want to go and check it out. It looks really cool. It's like, instead of being in, like, a tropical ocean, you're in the Arctic Ocean.
Yeah.
So there's, like, weird alien penguins and stuff. So
yeah.
So that looked cool to me. I'm sure they've added even bigger, scarier monsters. So I'll do that when my poor heart can take it. But it's really cool. Subnautica is awesome. It's a bit old, but it's definitely a fantastic game to try out, especially if you like survival craft games. It is a great survival craft option. Like, if you love cool base building and exploring big open areas. Yeah. It's definitely something worth checking out.
It is. And according to Steam's page, Below Zero, like, just dropped.
Okay, so it just came out. Okay. Wait,
or maybe it just had its full release. I don't know.
That's probably what it is. So, yeah. That's pretty cool. So, Subnautica by Unknown Worlds Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool thing. Check it out. All right, so those were our 3 games. We had Insurmountable, Polybridge, and Subnautica. Yeah. You want to kick us off and talk about what board game we played this week?
Sure. So this week we play. I always kick it to you for the board game. So this week,
wait, I was just talking.
I know. We played Viticulture this week. This is designed by Jamie Stegmaier.
I think so.
Alan Stone, and then the artists were Jackie Davis, David Montgomery, Beth Sobel, and it's published by Stonemaier Games.
Oh, that's why we've heard of Jamie Stonemaier before. We've talked about games from Stonemaier Games.
Stegmaier. It's Alan Stone and Jamie Stegmaier make Stonemaier.
So we've seen games. We've seen games from them before.
They combined their last names.
I didn't catch it. I was like, I thought you said it was Jamie Stonemaier.
No, Stegmaier.
Stegmaier and Alan Stone.
Yes. Yeah. So it's Stonemaier.
It's hard to express how happy that makes me.
They came together.
They came together and made an awesome game.
It is. All right, anyway.
Yeah, so Viticulture is about... so you're in rustic Tuscany, and you are managing a vineyard. And so what the game is all about is about managing your vineyard. So you're growing grapes, and you're turning those into wine to fulfill orders to win.
Yeah, get the most victory points you can. So the core mechanic of this game is that it's a worker placement game. Mm-hmm. So naturally, I was like, not just yes, but hell yes. Like, let's go.
I saw this. You sent me the tutorial video, and I was like, of course, it's a worker placement game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Nick will always pick a worker placement game.
If y'all leave me to pick the game we're gonna play for the week, you could put money on it being a worker placement game. All right.
It's actually a fairly simple game.
Yeah,
like, that was just it. Yeah, like I remember telling Erica that, like, she watched part of the video and was like, "This looks like a lot."
I was so confused,
and I was like, "It is a lot of parts, but it is not complicated. Yeah. It's like you have a lot of choices. It's kind of like going to the buffet,
and it's not even that many choices if you think about it. And so the board is set up to look like a vineyard area. So there's like little people and buildings and stuff, and so the board has 2 different sides. Well, halves. One half of it will be blue spots, and those are winter areas, so you can only take those actions during winter. And then the other side is yellow, and those are summer spots, so you do those during the summer season.
Yeah.
Right.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options on each, so it's not that many options to pick from, really.
It's not, but so that's just it. Like, it's really none of it is actually a lot.
Yeah.
I would say this is probably I'm going to say this in quotes, the simplest worker placement game that we've played.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
It definitely is.
Like, what I really like about it is that even though it's, like I said, I'm again in quotes, like, simple, it has a lot of nuance. There's a lot of, like, kind of like strategy behind your actions and your order of operations.
Yeah, it's very much one where it's not necessarily... like, you always have enough workers to do what you want. I felt like that wasn't an issue. Like, you always had enough workers.
Yeah.
It was just doing it in the right order. So, like, you don't want to make wine before you harvest your fields, and you don't want to play a blue card before you do something else. Like, it's stuff like that. It's just, what do I need to do before the other?
Yeah, that makes sense. And, like, because a lot of it has to actually go within a certain order.
Yeah.
And so you have to make sure you follow that order of operations, or you'll screw things up. Like, I remember the first half of our playthrough, I think I was struggling to make wine, because it was like I was doing other stuff. Like, I planted my grapes, but then I never harvested them. I never harvested grapes, so we didn't have any grapes in the mash pad, so I couldn't go from the mash pad to the wine.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I just kept giving wine tours. I was like, in my mind, I was like, money. Get money.
Yeah, but money doesn't give you
Get
anything.
money, but you don't get victory points from money. Like, I mean, you do need money to buy more workers, to buy buildings to upgrade your vineyard, but money is not the end-all. You do need it, but it can't be your sole purpose. Which is what I'm so used to games being capitalistic, where it's like, give me the money, you know? So
yeah, and I feel like my issue when we were first playing is I just didn't know how you got victory points. I was just like, okay, I'm just playing a game, but like, how do you even get these points? It seemed like there was only like 2 ways to get points until you guys were like, oh yeah, the orders, the purple cards, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, it's got several different ways you could do it. Like there are a couple of upgrades.
Are the main way to do it.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, it's a game about making wine, so of course the primary way to win would be
selling
your wine,
filling orders. But like, there are some actions you can take that will grant you. Well, actually, there's some upgrades you can make for your vineyard that when you take certain actions,
it gives you points
on the action pad. They will give you victory points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it does seem like the game has a lot of different ways for you to like work out those points. Because remember, like the first half of the points I got in the game, I got them from playing cards. Because there's 4 different types of cards in the game. You have got grape cards, obviously, from grapes you can plant in your fields.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got visitor cards, and there are summer visitors and winter visitors. So yellow cards for summer, blue for winter. Then you've got wine order cards, and those you draw those to get orders, and then you have to fulfill those orders to get the points.
Yeah.
Well, the first half of my points were from playing visitors.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, because like the visitors all do different things that most of them help you out, from what I could tell. Like, I don't think I didn't really see any that had negatives.
Well, so I did find one there at the end I drew where you could pay victory points, basically. You could pay 2 of your victory points to get an extra worker.
Oh, okay.
But that was the only one I saw in the entire game that we played where there was a negative to victory points.
Okay.
So we didn't play with the DLCs that you had.
We did not.
Right.
We did not play with
You had 2 DLCs.
We just played base Viticulture. We did not play the Tuscany expansion or the there was no one called like the More Visitors or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So there may be other visitor cards that do
take
away.
But all the ones that we had seemed to be positive. Like all the ones that I played that got me a bunch of points were like, they would let me basically, like, most of them seemed to give you the option to do an action even if that action was fully tapped on the board. Like I kept playing visitors that would let me plant more grapes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, did you happen to plant a grape in a field that already has 2 other types of grapes? Well, congratulations, you get 2 victory points.
Yeah, that was a lot of your
here, plant a field. If you have now planted 6 grapes, you get 2 victory points. And I was like, oh, cool, yay!
Yeah.
Right. I was convinced I was going to bring it back at the end.
I thought you were too. You had all those order cards, and I was like, he's just saving up. He's got all of this in the bag.
I had all of the orders, but I didn't have the wine to fill them. That was where I messed up.
But it did have a cool thing. Like, I do like the passage of time mechanic the game has got going on, where every I'm gonna call it turn, or every round is broken up into 2 seasons, summer and winter, and you don't go into winter until basically everyone says, all right, it's winter, basically.
Yeah.
Like, unless everybody has to say, I pass, I'm not spending any more workers right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you change seasons, and you can spend your workers in winter if you still have some.
Yeah.
Well, that's another deal of like strategically using your workers, because there are some things like you can't harvest or make wine in summer.
Right. Yeah, it has to be done in the winter time.
You have to do it in winter, and you don't regain your workers
when the season changes.
When the seasons change.
Yeah, it's when
you get your workers back when the year ends. Yeah.
So it's like you said, it's about strategically, like, you want to do actions in both, because like summer is like you want to lay the foundation for what you're going to do in winter.
Yeah, that's definitely what summer is for. Summer is for planting crops, for building new buildings, and different things like that. Where winter is more collecting your harvest and fulfilling orders and things like that.
Yeah, and making that wine.
Yeah.
And then after the round is over, after summer and winter have both passed, it's like, okay, well, it's a new year. And so everything ages. And I thought that was cool. Mm-hmm. So any grapes you have in your grape pads all increase in value by 1.
Yeah.
And every wine you've got in your cellar goes up by value.
Mm-hmm.
It goes up in value by 1.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of neat. So like if you hurry up and take actions early, you kind of can like lay the foundation for like letting things slowly grow as the game progresses.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And I thought that's kind of cool.
You could fill in, like, you don't necessarily have to wait for your grapes to get, or harvest a 6 value grape to get a 6 value. You can let it
sit
there. Let it age.
Yeah, let it age.
It's like, this blend, it's been aged for 3 years, in the cellars of my vineyard,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So it was really cool. Like, I actually really like this game.
Yeah.
I had a good time. We need to play again so I can win.
Yes, this is one that I actually won for once.
Especially now that I know how to actually get points. We need to play this again.
Well, yeah, what we got to do is I think we should pull Phil in.
Yeah.
Play player game.
I guess that will draw up the time that it takes us to play the game. But
only a little bit.
But I mean, I think now that all 3 of us know how this game goes, because this is a 2 to 6 player game.
Yeah, and it says that it's best for 3 to 4.
And I could see that, because I remember you and me talked about playing this, just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
And the more we read the rules and all that, the worker slots, the action spaces.
Yeah.
You unlock more tiers of them based on how many players you have.
Right. That way, there's more options for them.
Yeah. So in a 3-player game, we only have access to 2 slots.
Yeah, but if it was 2-player, there'd only be 1 slot per action.
Yeah.
So going up to 3 opened up a whole new world of options.
Yeah.
And so I think when you go to 5, then that opens up the 3rd slot.
Yes,
I think
you have to go to 5 to open up the 3rd one.
Yeah.
But going to 3, so playing with 3 to 4, that's where I feel like it's best, because that's where you get the bonuses.
You get the bonuses. There's not too many people doing stuff.
Right. And then if you do 5 to 6, the last spot isn't really that important. It's just another spot for that thing.
Yeah, and the bonuses.
I think it would get a bit hectic with 5 to 6 people.
Yeah.
It would be. And the bonuses being like special things you can do.
Yeah.
If you were the first one to play it. Or if you I love how the tutorial video said that there's a friendly way to play this game.
Yeah, I thought that was
where,
nice.
Like, if you don't intend to use the bonus, then you can't take it.
Yeah.
But see, if we play this with Phil, he would totally be I'm going to take it because you can't use it.
Yeah,
then.
Even if that's the friendly way, was like there's a spot where you have to.
Well, you just tell him that's the rule.
Yeah,
we're going to be teaching him how to play this game. You just tell him that if you can't take the bonus action, that you don't take the bonus action.
Well, then why are we talking about it now?
Because he doesn't listen to the podcast.
He may not listen to this. No, it'll be fine.
But yeah, there's certain ones where it's like play 1 card, and then if you use this space, you can play 2 cards. Mm-hmm. Well, if I don't have 2 cards to play, I'm still going to just block that for someone else. Like that. Yeah. That's not how we played it. We played it, if you only have 1, then you take the 1 spot.
It's a more competitive way of going about it. It's about denying the action to others and less about just taking the action you want to take.
Exactly.
Which I think it's cool that in the rules it mentions both.
Yes.
It's like, how do you want to play? Do you want to be cutthroat competitors, or do you want to just be like, we're all neighbors growing wine?
Yeah.
No.
Our love of vino brings us together.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. My love of money makes it so that I want more than you.
I mean, I guess. Like I said, maybe I only feel this way because I won. I don't know, but I do definitely want to play this more. Yeah. I want to include more people. This is a great one.
It was a good time.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like it would take that long either.
It didn't. I don't know why. Every time we suggest a new game, I get kind of like weird, because it's like, oh no, this is gonna be a 3-hour game again.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Maybe not.
It never usually is.
Yeah. I honestly, I think the issue that we've had in the past with our group is that we'll wind up picking games that we haven't played recently, and so we spend a lot of time relearning the game,
yeah,
and then playing. So even though it's a game we've had and we've played before, it's like we have to relearn to play it because none of us did homework ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like if we hadn't all three watched the how to play this game video,
it would have taken us a lot longer.
It would have taken
forever.
Yeah. And I think that's why games that should take 30 minutes to an hour, our group, when it's all four of us, take like 2.
Yeah.
You know, because we're stumbling through it.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't help that some of us are indecisive.
It's a thing. Yeah. It's a thing.
Beside the point.
I was like, we can't lay all the blame on him. Just some of it.
Well, it's also like he's not the only one who's indecisive.
No, yeah, we all get indecisive at points, especially when there's so many options. Like this one, I feel like is the right amount of options. It's not too many where you're like, I don't know what to do. There's too many things to choose from. It's just enough where you feel like you're making decisions that will impact you, but not too much. Where it's like, I have to do everything right now, or else it's gonna fail.
I agree.
Yeah, this is a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really liked it. Say 10 out of 10. Definitely will play again. So Viticulture,
we'll mush grapes again
by Stagmeyer and Stone.
Yeah, we got to bring it and a bottle of wine and just drink wine and play this game. Because I got a glass of wine.
Maybe 2 bottles of wine.
Yeah, I got a glass of wine like halfway through, and I was like, "This feels right."
Yep, that'd be great.
Wow.
We just like roll up with that.
Yeah,
he wouldn't expect it.
A red and a white.
There you go.
Bam.
But yeah.
Oh Lord.
So those were our games for the week. So we had Insurmountable, we had Poly Bridge, we had Subnautica, and we had Viticulture.
Yep.
All honestly, I think all the games this week were winners.
Yeah.
I mean, like they were all just really great.
They were really good.
Jacob, we're glad to have you back on the podcast, man. We'll
hopefully
catch you again soon.
Yes, maybe.
So that'll be it for us for today. So thanks for listening, and toodles.
Bye.
Bye.
If you're digging the Unearthing Games podcast, give us a positive rating on your podcast directory, or give us a thumbs up on the YouTube channel. Share the podcast with your DM, or your local game store owner, or your dog, or even check out our website, unearthinggames.com. If you have any suggestions for games you'd like to hear us talk about, or maybe even play, email us at unearthinggamespodcast@gmail.com. The Unearthing Games podcast is recorded in front of a live puppy audience. All borks, ruffs, jingles, and squeaks are completely original and not added in post.